This is Industrial Intrusion, TryHackMe's CTF, and we are solving Orcam, that is task 13. Dr. Ayaka Hirano loves to swim with the sharks, so when the attackers from Virelia successfully retaliated against one of our own, it was up to the good doctor to take on the case. Will Dr. Hirano be able to determine how this attack happened in the first place? Okay. And so now we have the VM started, and we immediately notice a writing template.eml on the desktop. But as we know from past experience, this is quite a slow VM. And so what we're going to do is we are going to add our public key to that machine so that we can SSH into it. And now going back to the machine, we start a terminal. And we notice it already has 2 keys. We are going to add our own. So we pasted the key in the clipboard, and we can paste it here. It becomes available in the machine. Save and exit. Ubuntu at and the IP address. We see the writing template.eml. So now that we've downloaded the EML file, let's take a look. Looks like a standard email message from help desk. But notice the misspelling, right? Key1P. Yeah, so that's a spoofed email address. And has a very suspicious attachment project template. First, we need to extract the base64 encoded attachment. I wrote a simple extractor that takes the EML file, opens it, and parses it as an email, and then iterates, walks through the different parts. When it finds one where the transfer encoding is base64, tries to get the file name, tries to get the data, and if it's got the file name, it will create the extracted file using that file name embedded in the email. Otherwise, it will just create output.bin. And then Python extractor. And taking a look, we do have the project template. And if we run a file against the project template, it's created with Microsoft Word. Okay, so how do we get the contents? One way would be to open the file, but since it's attached to a phishing email, you usually don't want to open these kind of files. And so I'm going to use a tool called VBA, and then we're going to give it the name of the document. And it's extracted the macros. And now that we have this, we can proceed to the next part. Standard variable definitions. I will direct attention to this bit over here that I've marked. And so what it does is it creates a random number between 1500 and 2000. It takes the current time, clips for that random time, so between 1.5 seconds and 2 seconds, and then it takes the time again, and if the difference is less than the sleep time, it just exits. This is an anti-debug method. It's not very effective, but it is what it is. Okay, going forward, we see a very suspicious array of numbers being defined here, and then XORs it with this key. However, it's important to note that the function returns just the first letter. So despite it being given a 4-letter string, this function returns just the letter L. And so this effectively XORs this array with the letter L. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the array, we're going to copy it from here, and we're going to paste it into CyberChef. And now we're gonna go from decimal because it's just decimal numbers. And next we're gonna take the XOR. We're gonna set this to UTF-8 and we're gonna give it the key L. And if we take a look, it's still gibberish, right? So it doesn't appear that the key is actually L. What we can do is we can use a brute force where it's gonna iterate through all the hex codes from 0, 1 to FF. And as we're scrolling down, we are trying to visually see if any of them produces any correct output. But so far everything looks like gibberish. And so we know for sure it's not a single character. We go back to XOR, we set it to UTF-8, and I have an idea. Even though this function returns just the letter L, my guess is it's going to use the whole thing. So let's try that. We put the key here, and now we have the message correctly decrypted. And if I were to guess, this string is probably a base 64, right? And so we don't need this anymore. Let's put the string here from base 64. And there you have the flag, which I am going to hide in the video because I'm not allowed to show that. If you've enjoyed this, please hit that like button. It helps me a lot. If you'd like to get notified in the future whenever I post new solves, hit that subscribe button and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.